Now there's a quote that reads, "There's a crack in everything." That's how the light gets in. Leonard Cohen. And this ode to celebrate the little imperfections in life could not be more true for gardening. So gather your perfectly imperfect pots and let's have a little bit of fun. So one might immediately think, this pot has no life left. And I was rummaging around today in my pot graveyard. I think every house has one of those. It's like they're just there, rummaging around, and I found this guy, and I'm like, you really need something done to you. I could turn it into crocks immediately with one swipe of the hammer, but I think I've got something better planned for it, at least for the next few years. Terracotta pots, it happens, they get a crack in it, and what better way to take something and give it new life, you know, as they say. One man's rubbish is one man's treasure, the best finds of all. So today we are going to create something inside here that might deserve a really good spot in the garden. And we've got all these different bits and pieces of succulents here. Some really need to get out their pots because they've been in them far too long, and what a good excuse to have to transplant and give things new life. So what have I got? I've got my pot from the pot graveyard. It's got a good drainage hole, absolutely. And what we're going to do is ensure that we keep that good drainage because, of course, the quickest death for succulents is too much water. If in doubt, don't water. Golden rule. Of course, there are those people that I come across that say, I had a succulent and I killed it. Well, how did you kill it? How often did you water it? No, I never watered it. Right. Much like us, other people need 1 loaf of bread a day. I need at least half a loaf. But people are different, and so are plants. So they do need some water though. A little bit of shade cloth at the bottom, and to increase what we call permeability. Permeability is water running through. I am going to use some crocks, and I'm literally just going to stack them, and that is really going to do the job. Take a look inside there. So we've got really good drainage happening in there. Okay, next up, which is going to be probably your most important, is your succulent mix. Now, guys, I want to show you why this is good. So instead of me fighting with this bag of potting mix, which is really quite heavy, what does it tell me when it's heavy? Well, a couple of things, and I'm going to hang on to it like I'm hanging on to a sack of potatoes here. Because number one, it's telling me it's got river sand in it, which is good for drainage. It also tells me that it's got some ordinary loam in it, just normal soil, which is also a good thing. Weight of a bag can tell you so much before you've even opened it. If you buy a bag of compost and you can literally lift it up with your pinky or 2 fingers and still carry it to the checkout, it's not compost. Okay, I'm going to pop it into the truck here to make life a whole lot easier. Okay, and certainly does beat fighting with the bag. All right, let's take a closer look at it. We can see some rather big chunks of bark, which are going to aid some drainage. Here is the river sand. Can you see those little speckles? There's the river sand in it. So we are dealing with a mixture that is going to drain well, which is most important. It also has a bit of organic plant food added to it, but I am going to take it one step further. Because it's going in a pot, I certainly don't want to have to worry about feeding it for the next while, so I am going to add a little bit to it. You don't have to, but it will help. Right, to this, guys, 2 handfuls of organic general purpose fertilizer, more than enough, and that's going to do the job. Then take your trowel and just give it a really good mix. Okay, we are ready for action. Let's go. Into here, I'm going to add my succulent mix just below where this crack is, because that is where I'm going to be starting my planting. All is good. So we're going to feed it down just to there, okay? Okay, you can keep it at a bit of an angle. What is important now, folks, is that you do, look at that, as soon as I put my hand there, do you see how much it dropped? Now, of course, we don't want that to happen once we've planted, because then whatever we put here is going to be like hanging in the air. So that is an important step that we just need to pay attention to. So pop it in there. Let's get our little angle right here. Right, much, much better. Okay, now, we've got these little sempervivums. Oh, shame. Look, they've been in this pot far too long. They really are needing a bit of a new relocation home and tease away a bit of this soil here. And then what I'm going to do is take this little guy and I'm just going to pop him over here. So he's going in sideways, but I have made sure that I've got some soil underneath it. Now, obviously, we're doing it a bit like a lasagna. So I've got that guy there. Now I need to add in a little bit more soil because, yeah, we don't want them like hanging in midair. So take your trowel and just add a bit in. And you will notice that I'm using quite a narrow trowel here. And that's because I'm going to be working in some really delicate spaces. So it does make much more sense to use something with a narrow blade than rather something with a big wide blade, because you are going to end up damaging something. Not yourself, but the plant. Right, now from the side, we are then going to go to the middle. So I'm going to be using this Echeveria, it's called Santa Sana, and it has got a flower. Now, you know, the flowers of Echeverias are truly beautiful, but I know when I transplant it and move it that I am going to damage it. A lot of people also have trouble when they are trying to take this off because some people don't want the Echeverias to flower. When it does flower, you can lose a bit of quality on the foliage because all the energy is going into the flowers, but you know, it's a personal thing. But one of the best ways to get these off without damaging it is literally take the stem, take the flowering stem, lift up your little leaves there to expose it as much as possible, and then you're going to go alongside there towards yourself there and back, and then it's off. Because a lot of times you end up breaking it off there and you end up with this silly little stub sitting there. It looks very, very ugly. All right, let's get this bad boy in. It's a good squeeze, grab it there, and then out it comes. Now this is the best time. Guys, if you want babies from any of your succulents, the best time to do it is now when transplanting, because you can get in there, you can hold it nice and firm, and then remember to take off your leaves, choose your leaf that's right at the bottom, and grab it, wiggle, 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 and then you'll feel it coming. Don't force it. How do you know that it's right? You'll see there's almost like a little bit of white flesh and almost a little pip. If your leaf comes off without that, that means you have lost the most important tissue and your leaf will rot. Okay. Now, important here is we want to get our height proportions correct. This will do the trick. So in here now, I just want to get a bit of soil around it, some of my succulent mix just to hold it together so that he doesn't topple over. Okay. Now that we've got him in, then we can simply start filling around with our other bits, which are going to give it the support that it needs. And here, guys, there's no rules. There are no rules. Simply whatever needs a bit of a repotting, in my opinion. Always just think about your textures. Think about the broad leaves and the grey of this lovely Echeveria against the small rosettes of the Aeonium. Really lovely contrasts, and that's what we're looking for. Remember, guys, you can choose any grouping of plants that speak to your heart. Just be sure to select those with similar watering needs, as this will ensure they all thrive together. Succulents are just so forgiving, and their geometric shapes means one can be a star. So mix and match and have all the fun selecting yours. Well, there we go, guys. Paintbrush to just finish it off. And there we have taken 5 or 6 plants that really needed a bit of love, new home, old pot, good succulent mix. All it needs is a sunny spot, sip of water, and remember, only water once every 7 to 10 days. And I'm happy.